going on, guys? I'm Vaxx. Now, if you're like me, you jumped back into Pokemon card collecting recently and realized it's a totally different world. I've been collecting now for 2 years, and I thought I'd throw together a list of the top 10 things I wish I'd known when I jumped back into the hobby. And if you're new to collecting Pokemon, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we post educational content weekly. Let's get it. So the first thing I wish I'd known was you really need to have a focus. There are so many cards and so many sets being printed now in Pokemon that it's impossible to collect everything. When I jumped in, I started with collecting the most recent set just to kind of get a feel for what's going on again, and I was very, very overwhelmed. You've got so many different rarities now, so many different illustrations. There's a lot to pay attention to. So I think it's really important before you really start investing in your hobby to understand what you're passionate about in the Pokemon space. And that could be collecting sealed products, collecting vintage, collecting modern, collecting specific Pokemon. The list goes on and on. But you really need to stay true to what you're passionate about, because if you give into the FOMO and the hype of new sets and the hype that all the YouTubers put out of spending these massive amounts of money on Pokemon cards, you're going to exhaust yourself really quick. And I'm telling you that from experience. That happened to me. You want to dive in, you want to get your collection up to a certain level that you see on social media. It's just not realistic. Take your time, enjoy the hobby, enjoy chasing what you enjoy chasing, and I promise you, your collection will grow over time. The second thing I wish I knew was how to properly store and protect my Pokemon cards. Now, if you're not new to Pokemon collecting or card collecting in general, you know this, and you're going to cringe at me so hard, but when I first started collecting, I would take rare cards and I'd put them right in a top loader and put them away. And I thought I was doing the right thing. That's a major no-no. Every single card that you want to protect, you have to put in a penny sleeve first. I really do recommend putting your cards in top loaders, but you have to put them in penny sleeves first. Put your card in a penny sleeve, then in a top loader. Same with binders. Put your card in a penny sleeve, then in the binder slot. That's something that I know some of you are going to disagree with, but I promise you, if you put it in a penny sleeve, even a perfect fit penny sleeve, and then put it in the binder slot, it'll be much more protected. For a rule of thumb, just put all of your valuable cards in penny sleeves, no matter where else they're going. So with that in mind, every time I'm opening packs, unless I'm just doing it for fun on the fly while I'm in the mall or something and I grab a pack, but when I'm opening a booster box or something more serious and I'm expecting pulls, I always have a stack of penny sleeves and a stack of top loaders right next to me, so I can immediately put those rare cards right in protected penny sleeves and top loaders. Now, the second part of this is binders. Not all binders are created equal. You can do some serious damage to your cards by simply just putting them in binders. You absolutely never want to store your Pokemon cards in 3-ring binders. When you close that binder, the rings actually push up against the cards that are in the closest slot to the rings, and over time, they'll dent and damage them. There's specific binders that I recommend when collecting Pokemon, and I'll link them in the description below. But when I store my cards in binders, specifically my rare cards, I actually get top loader binders, so I can keep the cards in top loaders, so I know for a fact they will not get damaged while in that binder. And remember, sleeve your pulls before you put them in binder slots. You also want side load binders, not top load binders, because top load binders, that top row, if your binder falls or something happens, that card's going to slide up, the top of it's going to get damaged over time. Side load, it's way less likely for that to happen. So the third thing I wish I knew was where to buy cards and where not to buy cards. I learned this one the hard way. So we can break this out into 2 baskets, buying in person and buying online. So if you're buying cards in person and you're looking for modern cards, my favorite place to go is Target. Really, any big box retailer is okay. Walmart, Target, GameStop, even Best Buy. But I just found that Target always has the best supply. Now, if you're looking to buy vintage or single cards in person, you really have 2 options. You can go to your local card shop, which I'm a big fan of supporting local card shops in general. So I would recommend you buy everything you possibly can from your local card shop. Keep those guys in business. But if you don't have a local card shop and you really want to buy individual cards or vintage cards, the best thing you can do in person is actually go to a collecting convention. The most popular one's Collecticon, but there's so many small ones that you can find that I guarantee you'll be able to find one that's going to be local to you at some point in the next year. Now, buying online is obviously a little more sketchy. There's a lot more scamming going on. So this part's really important. I got scammed more times than I'd like to admit. So I'm speaking from experience here. If you're looking to buy modern sets online, Target.com, Walmart.com, or actually PokemonCenter.com, which is the official Pokemon shop. TCGplayer.com is also a good option for modern. What TCG Player does is they actually take all the listings from small local card shops and they put one hub where you can search, and then the local card shop will fulfill the order. So that's a good option too. It's just a little more complex because you have to do your homework on the shop. So for modern, I'd stick to the big box or Pokemon Center if you can. Now for singles and vintage, definitely TCGplayer.com for the beginner. That's the safest way you can go about buying cards. If you have a little more experience and you've got a basic understanding of how to spot fakes, eBay is a great place. You'll definitely get the best bang for your buck on eBay. And the benefit of eBay is you'll be able to actually see the specific card you want to purchase, where TCG Player, purchasing that card, but you don't know the centering. You actually don't see the physical one that will be sent to you. But another great place is actually Facebook groups. The community is a great resource. So join buy, sell, trade Facebook groups for Pokemon, and I guarantee networking with that community, you'll be able to find the stuff you're looking for. Again, just be really careful to avoid scammers. If you're buying from a specific person and you're not going through a third party like TCG Player or eBay, always use PayPal goods and services. PayPal's got your back if you get scammed. Now, the places to avoid buying online, Amazon. Plain and simple. I've ordered many products from Amazon and I've been scammed every single time. The packs have been weighed or the products have been resealed, or they sent me a promo pack where the promo centering was so bad that it was pointless to even have. Amazon's a tough one. I do not recommend ordering from Amazon. So number 4 thing I wish I knew, and this goes hand in hand with buying online, is to avoid proxy cards and fan-made cards. Now, I know that sounds kind of obvious, but sellers sneak these terms in to their listings so they're covered and protected so you can't get a refund. But unless you spot it, you think the card's real. The word proxy means fake. The words fan-made means fake. These are fake cards that are strategically placed and listed to trick you into thinking they're real. Now, a lot of scammers go a step further and they don't even put those words in, which is just a blatant lie. You can get refunds for that if you can prove it. What I'll suggest is check out this video I made on how to spot fake cards online. It gives you step-by-step guidance when you're looking at a card online to be able to tell if it's real or fake. So save that video, and if you're ever buying a card online, use it as a resource. The 5th thing I wish I knew, and this one's a little silly, but is to buy with your brain and not buy on impulse. There were a lot of times where the eBay auction was ticking down and I saw a good deal and I jumped on it before I read the full description or looked at the card in detail and realized there was a huge crease in it. It was a proxy. I mean, you name it. I impulse bought a lot when I first joined this hobby. And I learned quickly that cards will always be there. The value doesn't change that much in a short period of time. So there's no immediate rush. Yes, there are opportunities where you may find an absolute steal on a card, but that's so rare that if you stumble upon something like that on eBay or somewhere, I would be super cautious. Make sure that it's actually real and legit. Important rule of thumb here, if a price looks too good to be true on a card, it probably is. It's very unlikely you're gonna find the mom who found Pokemon cards in the attic and threw them up on eBay or Facebook Marketplace and didn't actually know the value of the cards. That's a wise tale you hear once in a lifetime. Don't search for that. You're just gonna end up wasting money and running into scammers. So the 6th thing I wish I knew, and I did know about this, but I wish I understood it more when I started collecting Pokemon, was centering. Now, if you're just collecting for fun and you don't care too much about appreciation on your cards, centering isn't a huge deal. But what centering actually is, when Pokemon cards are cut, they're cut from a sheet and the borders aren't always equal. The centering is the centering of the card itself with the borders, so the borders are perfect on every side. Now, in order to get a high grade on a card, you need to have good centering. So when you're buying singles, oftentimes, if you haven't seen the single, it's gonna have bad centering, and collectors and investors are offloading those bad centering cards, and that's what you're gonna get. And that's the problem with TCG Player, is you don't actually see the card you're buying. So more often than not, it'll be bad centering, which again, it's not the end of the world. I've bought plenty from TCG Player. If I don't really care too much about the centering, I'm not gonna get it graded. It doesn't really matter. I have a huge collection of cards that I don't care about the centering because they're meaningful to me and I just like them raw, but it's just something I wish I'd known. I wasn't paying attention to it at all. The 7th thing I wish I knew was to utilize the community. The Pokemon community is so supportive. The Facebook groups, conventions, even local card store meetups and events are great opportunities for you to network with the community, learn a little bit more, maybe trade some cards, find what you're looking to buy. It's just a really welcoming, awesome community that you really should take advantage of. The 8th thing I really thought about when I started collecting was, am I collecting or am I investing? And I use investing lightly because if you've been here before, you know I don't really like to promote investing in Pokemon cards. But really, I mean, it is something to consider. Are you collecting because the cards are meaningful to you and they bring you back to your childhood? It's fun for you, it's a hobby. Or are you really looking to make profit with the cards? Because these are two very different strategies, and it's important for you to understand that. And the real reason that I think this is important to understand is if you're collecting for fun, open those packs. We all know that's the fun. If you're more collecting for investment, maybe it does make sense to keep them sealed. But at the end of the day, you know, the fun in Pokemon is opening the packs. So provided Pokemon cards aren't your retirement strategy, I'm always a fan of opening them. I think that the thrill and the rush of opening that pack, even if it's an expensive pack, is just so much fun. And it's what keeps me addicted to the hobby. So the 9th thing I wish I knew when I started collecting Pokemon cards was not to let your bulk and the cards you aren't necessarily after pile up. Over time, you're buying packs, you're searching for cards, you're gonna start collecting a lot of bulk and a lot of holos and rare cards that you might not necessarily really care about. Offload those. You can sell your bulk to local card shops, given you're not gonna get a ton of money, but you will get some money for it. You'll clear it out of your storage. There's no reason to let it sit around. It doesn't appreciate. Just offload it and use that money to complete what you're actually after. And just like that, with your rare cards, use them as leverage to trade. Again, Facebook communities are a great place for you to post your cards that you're looking to trade and ask for the cards that you're looking to get. More likely than not, you'll find somebody that's willing to make that deal if the values are the same. And then it's a win-win. You know, you're making progress towards your goal collecting and you're also helping someone else do the same. So for me, I'm looking to collect every single Charizard card that's ever been printed. So when I pull a card that's not a Charizard, I put it in my trade binder. I use it as collateral to eventually trade for a Charizard I do need. So I do get the fun of opening the packs, but I don't just sit on all these cards that I don't need. You need to remember, unless you are insanely fortunate fortunate, which if you are, great for you. But the average person, it's not possible to collect everything in Pokemon. It's just way too expensive. So you really need to stick to what's meaningful to you and stick to that niche. Don't let the FOMO set in where you're getting jealous of other people's collections and you feel like you need to keep all this stuff to show off. Not worth it. And the number 10 thing I wish I knew, and I have to remind myself of this all the time, it's a hobby. Enjoy the hobby. Enjoy the journey. The whole point of it is to have fun. Pokemon collecting is not about showing off. It's not about appreciating assets. It's not about having the big and best collection. It's about feeling like a kid again. It's about feeling like how you felt Christmas Day when you got a new tin from the base set or jungle set and you were searching for that holo. It's about the nostalgia and it's about feeling those feelings again with your family. So take your time opening packs, savor those moments, enjoy the journey. Don't get caught up in the FOMO. Don't overspend. Enjoy every single pack you're opening and just remember why you're doing it in the first place. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If this helped you, be sure to like and leave me a comment. Let me know why you started or got back into collecting, and be sure to check out my other videos. My goal here is to build a community and help you guys be the most educated collectors you can be. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.